I come with one slide, no statistics, so there shouldn't be any problems with it. I think there is a reason why I'm stuck here at the end. I could stand over here, but I don't like standing still. Do you mind if I move around a little bit? And if you can hear my voice naturally, then that's what I sound like rather than enhanced. So really all I've been asked to do is just talk a little bit about the journey, if you want to call it that, of the Jersey Tea Company, which was set up, or the idea was set up in 2015. And I suppose how we then ended up bolting into the guys at Warwick Farm and Glyn. If I get away from that. So really that's what it is, and it's really just to see how we're coming at it, really, and how we fit it in. So 2015, happier times, simpler times, weren't they? The word Brexit probably didn't mean anything to anyone in those times. We were all going around, Barnet was still in the Football League, everything was happy, going well. And I was driving through Gorey on one of those, looking at one of those fields on the side that's probably not profitable to farm at the moment. There was a programme on Radio 4 just about how tea was being grown in the Northern Hemisphere, in Scotland of all places, and Northern Ireland. And I thought, well, I could do it here. And I'm quite known in my family for madcap ideas. So it's just another one of those ideas, like setting up a newspaper, doing all of these other things that have fallen by the wayside. So I just embarked on doing a little bit of research into whether tea could be grown in Jersey. And probably every inch of the way hoping that it couldn't, so I could just move on and keep to that simpler life, which was going quite well. But it didn't work out that way. So every bit of research I looked at the soil types, did some soil testing, looked at the rainfall, the sunniest part of the British Isles. Everything seemed to be ticking the boxes that tea was possible to grow here. I then contacted Kew and set up a relationship with Kew, and they said, well, you're growing an exotic, come and have a look at our exotics. And we kind of like stuck them in the palm house, and they've stuck some of them outside because they got a bit unruly and were overgrowing. And one of the guys there said, well, I didn't really know what to do with them, so I thought I'd just put them over there by those trees. And there they are, they're growing happily in shade. And so I thought, okay, well, these seem to be quite hardy plants, quite able to take the London weather or London climate. So it built up doing this research. I mean, we bought over our first plants in 2015, and myself and my wife just basically set about trying to kill them. Don't feed them, don't water them, just leave them alone, just ignore them and all of that. And they kept living, much to our annoyance. And so we thought we had something there. We then, a little while later, the Jersey Diversity Farming report was I think it was 2016, December 2016, and it mentioned tea plants. And we'd already got some tea plants, so we said, oh, fantastic. So we then started working with the Department for the Environment, and they very kindly gave us a plot of their land. And they said, well, put them in there and see if you can kill them in there. So that's what we did. We put them in there, they started growing, started flourishing, and then we started to build up confidence, and that's when we started to look for land to actually move from ultra hobbyist, I heard that term, really hobbyist, to actually think, well, there might be a transition here into growing, and then there might be a business in this. So that's really the beginning phase from 2015. And it was quite a journey. We met loads of people on the way. Some were saying, oh, it's been done before, or, you haven't got a chance. And other people saying, well, why not give it a go? And particularly people like Steve Carter up at the Organic Farm, Fresh Farm Organics, they got right behind us and said, look, we'll do everything we can to support you, from machinery to advice. So we started to move into what seemed to be our early organic phase, whereby we were looking at the plants, we were speaking to our supplier and saying, well, look, we wanted to be organic, we wanted to be environmentally friendly, but we immediately found out that what organic is a plethora of things. It can be anything, really, can't it? There's many levels you can set yourself, many different standards you can set yourself. So we started just looking at the standard feeds and standard model of feeds for Camellia sinensis, which is where all tea comes from. And we looked at those, and we applied that feed to the plants, and they seemed to be doing well. We worked with our supplier again. We went back to Kew and said, oh, you're using this. And I said, oh, that's interesting, we're using that. So it kind of like, it seemed to be that we were doing right. But every now and then the plants would seem to get very, very stressed, they would yellow, and so we kind of then had to go a little bit deeper into the organic. So we started to do a lot of soil testing with the states. We used our supplier to do soil testing. And we found that actually a lot of the soil mineral deficiencies and element deficiencies in the soil that we were farming, we need to replace. So we then went to search all and sundry for suitable organic products that would be able to meet the kind of, if you like, a gap. We ended up working with an organisation called Coppit, who come over here, who have been very, very helpful in like looking at our plants, looking at if we've got any problems with pests and stuff like that. And we started moving there. We really started to then think, as Chris was saying, really this is about the soil rather than just the plant. It's about what we're doing with the soil. And then it just so happened when Glyn was up at the farm and we had a conversation. And I didn't even know we were carbon farming. I just thought we were growing tea. So it's a kind of byproduct that I am growing these things. And he said, well, do you know you're collecting carbon? I thought, I know photosynthesis. I mean, I've got a background. I didn't know I was like saving the world like you're suggesting I am. I just thought I was trying to produce good tea. But I am. But it turns out that we are also sequestering carbon. We don't till the land. We don't plough the land. We don't cut the tree. So as the biomass builds up within the wood itself, within the bark of the bush and in the leaves, so actually that's a high amount of carbon is kept there. And if we stick to the beyond organic phase in which we're moving into now, then again, everything that's been said about the hemp and the soil, that's exactly the same for the tea. So in many ways, it's been a journey of discovery, of lots of mistakes, lots of support from various people, too many to not mention. But really, we are where we are now, and we're happy to be a part of the carbon farm. The newest members, I would probably assume that we are. But we're now moving into the next phase. I think Lynn showed you some pictures of the green up of our plants. But we understand for most people that's not going to be good enough, is it? So we're now with the states of Jersey, with the Environment Department, we're doing a control study, looking at different methods, standard model methods of just the feeds versus that whole nutrient cycle of the soil. And we're going to compare that at a number of levels. And hopefully within 6 months to a year, we'll start to get data through that. As I say, we're being supervised by the Department of the Environment. That will really show the benefits of the approach that we're engaging in. So that actually you might get the same productivity, maybe even better, but actually the benefits to the soil and to the environment are far weighed out by not using pesticides, not doing certain farming methods that might not be so good for the soil. I went that really quickly, didn't I? Yeah.